The crucifixion is wrong, based on what we've seen.
The shows, movies, cartoons, animes that we've seen depicting Christ's crucifixion are all inaccurate.
Bro, what did you just say?
Because of course, for the sake of being
PG-rated and family-friendly.
let me convey to you the real crucifixion of Christ and the pain he endured.
That we all deserve. As many were astonished at thee, his visage was so marred more than any man, that his form more than the sons of men.
Before Jesus' crucifixion,
Jesus was stripped bare of all of his clothes, and then his wrists were chained upon the scourging post. Bound to the scourging post, the Roman punisher equips a flagrum, a whip, with pieces of sharp bones, stones, and metal balls at the end of its leather cords.
Jesus was then lashed.
More than 40 times.
According to a historical analysis and professional medical inference, Jesus' back was lacerated so extremely that
the back of his ribcage was slightly exposed and his muscle fibers were barely visible. Jesus, having lost so much blood and bloodily fatigued, his body almost deformed, was then unchained. And the soldiers plaited a crown of thorns and put it on his head. And they put on him a purple robe, and said, "Hail, King of the Jews!" And they smote him with their hand. The Roman soldiers then made Jesus carry a horizontal wooden beam that would later
hang him in the air and suffocate him.
The wooden beam was at least 100 pounds. Jesus was then forced to walk 600 meters to Golgotha with the beam on his shoulders, and each step was splinters making its way into his already torn back. Jesus struggled so immensely that he fell unconscious temporarily and then was kicked back up to consciousness by the Roman soldiers.
A soldier pulls a bystander in the crowd
and forces him to carry the beam for Jesus. As he arrives at Golgotha, the soldiers set up Jesus' cross by constructing the vertical and horizontal part of the beams together.
Jesus is then pushed down onto the cross,
almost collapsing. They strip off his crown of thorns and raiment, leaving him exposed again. Then, one of the soldiers picks out 5 to 7 inch long metal, rusty nails from a sackcloth bag and rams them into Jesus' wrists. As his carpal bones shatter and arteries pop from the nail digging into his flesh and into the cross, Jesus' body twitches and flinches.
His body, exposed and bloody, is then positioned and hung up upon the cross for everyone in the crowd to see his mutilated body.
A final nail was then driven into the metatarsal bones of Jesus' feet. Jesus was in a state of pure humiliation and pure agony.
As Jesus' torso dangled from the cross with hands and feet bound, every breath Jesus took was
torture. Every time he inhaled, his lungs constricted with blood and strain. Every time he exhaled, it was as if his lungs exploded.
The Pharisees, scribes, and Sadducees who hated Christ mocked and tried to rage bait him as he was helpless up in the air, saying,
"He saved others, but he can never save himself." And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" As he spoke his last words, he used his last breath to cry out to God,
where he bled and suffocated in the air, as his lungs filled up with blood and the winds blowing prevented him from exhaling fully.
Jesus Christ's weight, held up by the nails dug into his wrists after hanging for 6 hours, collapsed on the cross. Because he wasn't just being pressed down by his wrists, God laid down everyone's sins onto him. The sins of the past, present, and future.
And that was when God's wrath on humanity had been justified, and the curtains tore in half.
Christ's suffering is a message, and also a gift that was given to you by God, who loves you.
And even so, beyond Christ's crucifixion for sin.
God loves you so much. He respects your free will that you use, I use, we use to still commit iniquities against him.
There is no one in this world that could go through the
anxiety, pain, and humility Jesus experienced. But there is no need to mourn for Christ anymore, for he revived himself and defeated death on the third day, resurrecting not just himself, but also resurrecting a chance for you to have a relationship with God.
And what he's done for you and me.
Can you return the favor and turn your life around for God?